They say money can't buy happiness, but it buys relief, distraction, temporary anesthesia from the quiet ache you don't want to face. And so, we buy shirts that promise reinvention, shoes that whisper status, a phone upgrade for a life upgrade, retail therapy, a name so pretty it almost hides the emptiness beneath. This isn't moral outrage. This isn't ascetic self-denial. It's simply a closer look at why we're drawn to shiny things and why the glow fades so quickly. It's about how the Stoics, men who lived in simpler but no less tempting times, can teach us to want less, choose better, and stop mistaking the price tag for proof of value. The Stoics on luxury. Seneca was rich. Marcus Aurelius was an emperor. They weren't allergic to fine things. They were suspicious of needing them. Seneca wrote that luxury is fine as long as it remains a guest, not a master. That the real poverty is to crave extravagance, to be unable to live without marble floors and purple robes. Imagine if your contentment required a brand, a label, a certain caliber of applause. Imagine needing a particular kind of kitchen or car or phone just to feel like your life measures up. The Stoics didn't scorn beauty. They simply refused to be owned by it. You can appreciate elegance without dependency. You can sip the wine without letting it dictate your joy. Why marketing works so well on us? It's not your fault that you're hooked. Modern advertising is a billion-dollar machine engineered to bypass reason and tap straight into your amygdala. It whispers in primal language, "You will be more desirable. You will be safer in the tribe. You will finally silence the old wounds that say you're not enough." Every time you scroll, walk into a store, or watch a show, hundreds of small seductions occur, and they're precisely tuned. Colors, music, the ratio of smiling faces, they know exactly how to stroke your insecurities and promise resolution. You're not shallow for wanting. You're simply wired to respond. But you can become aware. You can pause and watch the pitch for what it is, an expertly designed hallucination. When your possessions start owning you. We think owning things means control, freedom, arrival. But every item you own takes a silent stake in you. It demands space, maintenance, insurance, attention. It crowds your shelves, clutters your closets, hangs over your head. Who's in charge, really? The Stoics would wander through our modern homes, garages stacked with forgotten exercise gear, closets stuffed with last season's trend, boxes we haven't opened since moving. And they'd be quietly amused, because it looks less like ownership and more like gentle bondage. Marcus Aurelius kept a private inventory of the luxuries dead emperors once adored: golden goblets, ivory carriages, jeweled weapons. All of them now rot. He did this not to scorn beauty, but to remember how easily today's treasures become tomorrow's debris. Why does this happen? Because the brain loves novelty. Each new purchase gives you a dopamine hit, but your mind also adapts painfully fast. What dazzled you last month lends into the wallpaper, and now you need more to feel the same high. This isn't a call to empty rooms. It's simpler and harder. Hold your things lightly. Be prepared to walk away. So when fortune shifts, your happiness doesn't get dragged off with the moving truck. The comparison trap. You don't just buy for yourself. You buy for all the eyes you imagine are watching. That's why cars get shinier, watches more intricate, shoes more outrageously branded. It's not about function. It's about status, signaling to the invisible audience that you're thriving. The Stoics knew this game well. Epictetus warned, if you live to impress, you're no longer free. Because your taste, your decisions, your peace, all orbit someone else's imagined opinion. Why does it work this way? Because once, being at the bottom of the social ladder was deadly. Rejection by the group meant you were left alone on the plains. Your mind still tracks hierarchy, still aches to display its worth, still flinches at falling behind, but there's always someone with more. A bigger house, a more exclusive invite, a younger face. The comparison machine never runs out of fuel, unless you unplug it. Why we buy. The self-fix fantasy. Most purchases aren't practical. They're attempts at self-repair. You buy that suit hoping to become the confident man who wears it. You buy that espresso machine imagining you'll become the calm, organized adult who uses it every morning. You buy the gym membership, believing this time you'll transform. And for a flicker, it feels like you did. Why does it work? Because humans are uniquely gifted at imagining alternate futures. We see ourselves transformed, leaner, richer, more admired, and the brain rewards that vision with real biochemical pleasure, even before it happens. The fantasy is addicting. The reality rarely matches. So we buy again. The Stoics would smirk gently here. Not because pleasure is wrong, but because mistaking the wrapper for the substance always leaves you hungry. How to want differently, a Stoic counterweight. So what do? Never shop again? Live under burlap? Renounce furniture? Eat cold lentils on a stone floor? Not quite. The Stoics weren't about self-punishment. They were about self-possession. Being able to say, "This is nice, but I don't need it to breathe." Seneca still enjoyed fine things. He just made sure he could walk away without a tremor. Marcus Aurelius still ruled an empire, but every night reminded himself how little of it was truly his. Try this. Ask yourself before you buy, will this solve a real problem or just decorate my anxiety? Spend a week buying nothing but essentials. Notice the itch. What do you want to soothe? Make a list of past must-haves that turned into clutter. Let it humble you. The goal isn't deprivation, it's liberation. Because when you're no longer enslaved by wanting, luxury stops being a leash and becomes just another option. What actually endures? Marcus Aurelius used to strip objects down in his mind. That wine you crave? Just fermented grape juice. That gold necklace? A shiny piece of metal. That lavish banquet? Animal carcasses and plant bits. Not to be cynical, but to see clearly. Because what lasts isn't the object. It's your character, your inner composure, your ability to stay steady whether draped in cashmere or cheap cotton. Why does this matter? Because everything external is temporary. Your health, your wealth, even your closest relationships. All of it can be taken in a single phone call. But your mind, trained to stand calm, to find meaning beyond possessions, that's yours. No economic crash or scandal or betrayal can strip it from you. So buy what you like. Admire beauty. Enjoy the textures of this life. Just remember what you're really trying to purchase. And if you're honest, you might find it isn't for sale at all. If this left a subtle echo somewhere inside you, subscribe. Leave a comment if you're learning to want differently, or just to say you're still here, still sorting through the noise. That's enough. I'll see you in the next one.